What's up? What's up? Hello everyone and welcome to Bo Beats, and today we are reviewing the Maschine expansion Dark Matter. It's supposed to be a kind of a melodic techno Berlin inspired pack, but as you'll see from my demos, I think you can do a lot with it. So here's a little sip of the coffee to ya. So what does a Maschine expansion contain? Well, it contains a number of different things, but your kind of building block is the groups. So you're going to the groups menu here on the Maschine, and that lets you select the deep matter expansion, and you basically have a lot of different kits. A kit is a collection of 16 samples, and they also, especially in this kit or in this expansion pack, the kits have a lot of effects on them, the Maschine effects. So it's all, pre set up for you, so you can just get into the music making, and it actually sounds really good. I think they've done a great job really trying to make some interesting sounds. Basically, the kits could be analog drum kits, digital drum kits. Not really sure exactly what the difference is there, but the drum kits nevertheless. And the drum kits often contain some kind of melodic sound. Let me show you. I think this is a digital kit. So it contains both drum sounds and some melodic instruments or melodic sounds. And there's also different melodic kits, which there are 4 of them. And there's also special kits, 4 special kits. The special kits are more like atmospheric, kind of strange. Let's see if I can find one. I think this is one. And this kit that I'm using here, their Berliner kit, contains a lot of different Berlin environmental sounds and samples. So the kits are very varied. And here's an example of a more melodic kit. And as you can hear, if we go into the sound here, we can see that this sound here has grain delay, filter, and reverb already applied to it. And you can tweak those settings as well. That's very cool. So let's check out another sound here. Nice bass sound. Bell type sound. More of a brassy kind of stabby sound. You can of course play chords. That depends on how the sampler is set up. So you can set it up to have polyphony, or you can set it up to be more of a monophonic thing. And some other sounds here. Oh yeah, here's an ambience sound. And there's some chords as well here. So besides having all the kits, you of course have individual sounds. So we can check the pack out here, and you have different drum synth settings. So the drum synths are the Maschine's own like software drum machines, and so this pack comes with some different drum synth settings, but it also comes with the different instruments, the bass sounds, the brass, the keys, the leads, the mallet organs. And here's a bit of workflow tip for you guys. What I like to do is I like to load up different kits here on the different groups. Basically make one little demo song per scene. So basically I move from like a kit to another kit to another kit in rapid succession to really, make something quickly on the fly and just see what comes out of me when I use these different kits. So let me show you what this can sound like. And of course you also have the option here to go into the samples menu, and you pick the deep matter, and then you have all the different drums, loops and one-shots that you can single out and use for something else here. So it's very easy to go from the deep matter samples and build your own little kit. So that's very cool as well. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say is that when you go into the groups settings here as well, and you check the deep matter, there's also drum synth kits. So they basically have 3 drum synth kits. That means that they put one synthesizer engine on each sound here, which is really interesting because it kind of works as a foundation where you can build upon, and you can really tweak the sounds, because you have a little bit more option when it comes to the drum synth engines than you got with a sample, for example. So that's really cool as well. So as you can hear from my demos, the pack is really broad. It's actually one of my favorite expansions for the Maschine because it has such a broad soundscape. Now, of course, you know, it's nothing compared to like Massive or some other big virtual instrument that you can do a ton of sounds with. But in terms of being an interesting pack of drum sounds, of ambient sounds, you know, ambience, different soundscapes, and also having actually usable lead, bell and bass sounds, I think this pack delivers. I think it's one of the better ones. It's actually a little bit larger in terms of megabytes as well, and I think that kind of shows you that, you know, there's a lot of sound in the pack. There's these big soundscape noises and whatnot that I found, you know, quite interesting. So while I'm not a fan of all Native Instruments Maschine packs, I think some of them are a little bit dull when it comes to the instruments and the, you know, the bass, the leads and whatnot. I do think this pack is actually really good and really interesting. I also think that there's a creative point to using Maschine expansions, because as you've seen, I've just loaded up like a kit and I did a groove with it. I could probably do, you know, 10 different grooves with one kit, and that's a lot of fun. That's something, you know, to get you going quickly, and that's what I like with the Maschine workflow. So it's actually quite fun and fast. So it's something I, you know, can just fire up, load a kit and get started. I don't have to, you know, sit about choosing my sounds. So of course it's kind of drum driven, the Maschine workflow, you know, with the pads and with the kits, they're often quite drum driven, but that's also really cool as well. And sometimes, you know, it's really nice starting out with the groove. And with the new variation feature on the Maschine MK3, that you have this variation button that you can apply a little bit of you know, a little bit. It's not swing. It's basically you shift the notes around so they aren't perfectly quantized. That's also very nice for somebody like me who likes to, you know, play a pattern. I'm not really good at finger drumming. I play a pattern, I quantize it, and then I use this variation feature to give it a little bit more of a groove. So that's something I enjoy doing as well. So I'm going to finish up my cup of coffee now and do some more beats on the Maschine. So if you enjoyed this little review here, hit that like button, consider subscribing and clicking that little bell notification button, and I hope to see you in the next video. So thank you so much. This was Bo from Bo Beats. Talk to you later.